Are we all cyborgs?
That's a really good question.
It is.
I think our addiction to technology has reached a whole nother level nowadays in 2014 in the 21st century.
It's scary to think how much we're always looking down.
So today we're going to be analyzing the TEDx talk that we watched called We Are All Cyborgs by Amber Case. One of the interesting things that she talked about was that technology is helping us be more human in that we're able to communicate a lot easier with each other through this technology. Although it may seem like we're addicted to it, like we were talking about in class, how a notification can make you addicted to technology because it makes you feel really good. So although that may be true, I think it does make us more human because we're able to communicate with each other just in a different way.
She also made a really strong point about how she brought up wormholes and how when she was younger, her dad would say, what's the easiest point to get from point A to point B? And she just said, put a straight line to it. But then he said, just fold the paper, and that's the fastest way to get there. And while A and B are now touching. And it's crazy to think, if you think about a couple years ago, or maybe not a couple, but 10 or 20 years ago, it's going to be you are only around the people around you, and that's how you communicate. But now we just go to things like our computers and our cell phones and tablets, and I could potentially be wherever my best friend is in the East Coast right now and just get to know him by FaceTime or text or whatever it may be. And it's just crazy how that wormhole has completely changed our lives, and that will connect and relate to us, to our class, with things like Facebook and how in that way we can connect and other things on top of that.
Yeah. We might as well face it, we're addicted to technology. I gotta say that one of the fundamental things of our technological addiction is the fact that we use computers basically as an external brain, and we use our hard drives and our computers as an external storage for photos and videos, but that also extends to memories. It's like, as she was explaining in the video, whenever we want to go back and remember something or relive a time, instead of just thinking about it and strengthening your memory, we have to resort to kind of digging through the archives and finding photos and videos of the time. And one of the big things is if you lose your laptop or your computer breaks, you lose everything, and it's kind of like losing a part of yourself. It's like losing an external brain, and like you could potentially lose like 8 years of your life just in photos and videos that you can never get back if you don't have it backed up. So just the fact that technology is kind of an extension of our own brain and our own memories is pretty crazy, and that sounds a lot like a cyborg. So, yeah.
Cyborgs!
So going off what I said earlier about Facebook and that in our society now, it's also really interesting how now we have two selves. We have our personal physical self, and we also have our self that's going to be online through our social media devices and everything else.
Right. So one of the examples that the TED speaker talked about was that you have your adolescent self online. Even if you just started your Facebook profile, you would be an adolescent now. But I mean, I remember I had a Facebook starting in 7th grade, and I would delete pictures from that far back because it was just so embarrassing. So you do go through an awkward phase not only with your true self, but with your internet self. So I thought that was really cool.
And one of the points that she brought up was the fact that like younger kids nowadays, since you grow up with technology and you're so used to being connected all the time, that basically because you're attached to your phone and your computer, there isn't really any time where you have just disconnect and have like moments of self-reflection to kind of find out who you are and plan in the long term. So we're kind of youthful people today are kind of missing out on the whole aspect of just being able to be and to like reflect on what you did and who you are and kind of plan for the future instead of just taking it as it comes and just checking texts and just being online all the time to kind of distract yourself.
Yeah, and going off that, when we had that social media challenge, it's kind of interesting because I feel like most people, instead of reflecting during that, they were just more worried about not being online and what's going on during that period while all their friends are updating their Facebooks and doing all this and that. We're just wondering about, like, I wonder what's going on versus thinking about now and what's actually present in our lives.
Especially when your friends tell you that they left some surprises for you on Facebook.
Yeah, you're like more concerned about like your Facebook self than you are about like your current self, just being like disconnected and not caring because like you do care, and it's kind of just that's how it is nowadays.
Yeah.